Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm joined by Lucky, Kevin, and Miriam. And we'll be talking about live and VOD streaming workflows from broadcasters and OTT, and how they're constantly evolving. And their engineering teams are rolling out new features, supporting more devices, introducing monetization models into their workflows, and pushing for lower latency, all while trying to keep playback reliable in production. In this video, we'll look at where playback risk is introduced as workflows change, why issues only show up once things go live, or most times, and how experienced OTT and broadcast teams think differently about managing that risk over time. Lucky, getting into this, the first question here. When teams plan and roll out changes to live or VOD workflows, where does playback risk most often get introduced, and where does it show up in production?
I'll start with answering the second question. So where it is manifest in. So a broadcast or OTT system is a very complex system. The video pipeline itself has like many components like encoder, packager, DRM system, CDN, and the client applications and player. And wherever in this whole system pipeline the issue occurs, it manifests in the playback, which means it will impact user. They might not be able to play the content, there may be error there, or there's a lot of rebuffering, or maybe the video is taking a lot of time to start. So at the end, wherever the issue it appears as a quality issue for the customer. Now, where it gets introduced, it can get introduced anywhere in the whole life cycle of a new deployment or an upgrade. It can happen in the planning phase because of incorrect assumptions. It can happen during execution phase because of underestimating the complexity, which means teams have to rush to kind of deliver and deploy, which means they cut short on testing, they cut short on like QA processes. And like some examples of like real examples of upgrades and feature deliveries can be like introducing ad workflows for monetization, introducing new audio video codecs for better quality and reduced cost of distribution. And it can also be like introducing new devices into your device universe.
Why do playback issues often only appear once changes are in production, even when testing looks solid?
Yeah, so basically, first I'll disagree a bit with you, because I wouldn't say that issues happen mostly in production. Really, most issues are caught before going to production. But obviously, any issue that slips through is going to be much more impactful to the customer and the client and everyone, really, because that wasn't caught. When we think of issues, we think of usually those, but really, at the absolute terms, 99.9% of issues are caught before going to production. And for those that slip through, it's usually because many different reasons, but usually it's either testing wasn't covering every edge case, and this is very common. For example, I can think of an issue where a user is playing a video and at the same time is switching to TikTok, for example, and then they switch back and forth between both apps, and this causes a lot of system load, and the device can only decode so much at the same time, and this can lead to failures. And in general, playback is somewhat of a distributed system. There's many pieces coming together to make it function. And like every other distributed system, success is a statistical event. So basically there will always be failures, and the player and everything is designed to be reliable to failures, but some failure cascades will lead to playback failure. So playback failure is something you have to be ready for, and something you need a contingency for, and that's why there are metrics. And 0% failure is not something you can realistically reach, because real world is messy, and there's always reasons for failure, and that's why we have retries, recovery, dashboards, and the fallbacks.
As live and VOD workflows continue to evolve, what mindset shift helps teams manage playback risk more effectively than they did in the past?
I think in the streaming industry, we are at a really high level of quality, and also the users expect a really high quality of streaming. So for me, it's mostly about improving on already existing systems, and that's where observability is key, because it's mostly like micro adjustments, and you need to figure out where you need to do these adjustments, and that's where observability can help you a lot, because otherwise you're blind, you don't know where to adjust, you don't know what's going wrong. So yeah, I would say observability is.
Well, I mean, I guess it's clear how playback risk isn't about avoiding change. It's about understanding how systems behave once they're in the real world, once they're in production, of course. Teams, of course, that build visibility and judgment into their workflows are the ones that scale with confidence across both live and VOD. And that's clear from today's conversation. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.